Hi, it's Maria. I thought I'd give you another message today in Maria Unfiltered message. And this one's called The Runaway Terrain. And I know it's kind of late and I'm feeling kind of silly. And so I hope you are too, because this is, this is kind of a funny one. But anyway, life is about waking up each and every day, right? If not each and every moment. And we're given messages to go further and to become better and to awaken to who we truly are. And so, oh my gosh, when we don't listen to the messages, then life just gets too ridiculous, because we're just too unconscious to pay attention. And the messages get bigger and they get louder and they're more in our face and we just can't escape them. And so it really does behoove us to kind of pay attention, because everywhere we go and everything we see and we hear, there are messages in everything. It's just a matter of deciphering them and using discernment and paying attention, and then seeing kind of the larger picture of life and how we are so connected with everything, and the animals and the birds and the butterflies and the doggies and the songs, the lyrics to the songs, and the people that we come into contact with. So we live in like this fabulous environment where everything is connected. And so anyway, it behooves us to pay attention, because we can learn so much, and we can really have, we can enhance the quality of our experiences when we are really awake to what's going on around us. So in terms of health, we abuse our bodies, and we can drink, and it's not until we drink enough to screw up our liver, that we pay attention. And so we can smoke, and it's not until we hack and we can't breathe, or God forbid we're spitting up blood or whatever, and that finally we pay attention, right? I don't want to get gross about it, but I'm just trying to make a point. Or we have indiscriminate sex, and it's not until we get the creepy crawly crabs or whatever, God knows what, some itchy, yucky STD, that we pay attention, right? Like I said, it's kind of late and I'm getting a little slap happy here. Or we eat crappy food, and it's not until we gag and we're so sickened by the grease and the chemicals that we pay attention. And we eat sweets, and it's not until our teeth tingle, and we're practically in a diabetic coma, that until we pay attention. And so we can overeat. And it's not until, we stuff ourselves in jeans and that don't zip up anymore that we pay attention finally. So we can stay in abusive relationships too, because life here on this planet is all about relationships and how we can better understand the people that are in our life. And so we can stay in abusive relationships. Now there are so many channels on the internet that talk about narcissistic abuse and narcissistic relationships. And so that's getting a lot of publicity, because so many people were in abusive relationships. There just wasn't a name for it. We could say they were sociopaths or psychopaths, but now it's narcissist is the key word. But anyway, we can stay in those abusive relationships until we get smacked around, or we're so physically abused and ripped apart emotionally and destroyed mentally, that we pay attention, right? So the common denominator is that we finally get pushed. We get pushed to the edge where we either wake up or we fall off the cliff. And the choice is ours, because whatever choice we make, we suffer the consequences. And so there is no right or wrong. We can just decide and then take it from there. So you can think of your life and think about what things started out small, but then slowly and surely escalated like a runaway train. And it's the same dynamic, really, that we can relate to like every aspect of our life, really. You may have dozens of stories where that holds true. Starts out small and then just keeps going and going and going like a snowball, just it escalates, it keeps getting larger and larger until it's more dramatic in our lives. And so in this series, which is called Maria Unfiltered, I'll give you an extreme example of what happened in my life. Because I think rather than speaking generalities, I always liked it when whoever I was listening to would relate their personal stories, because not only did I then learn a little bit more about them, but it was more practical rather than just thinking of something theoretical in approach. And so anyway, and I have so many examples, that's why it's called Unfiltered. And I'm sure you do too, because when you think about it in terms of every aspect of your life, things either get better or they get worse. We don't stay stagnant. That's true of anything, it either goes one direction or the other. So when I think of in my life, I think, oh, well, where do I begin? And that's kind of like my favorite saying and like my favorite song from, that movie Love Story a long time ago. But where do I begin? It's just so true, right? And so when we can stop the drama and see past it, we can see that, life can be so hilarious. I mean, really, we just can't just think that, just not get stuck in the seriousness of it, that we have to kind of take a lighter approach. And so sometimes life is so over the top. And so when we kind of let go and see the humor in it, then we can get through it in an easier way. But sometimes, we're in overwhelm and all we can do is kind of throw up our arms and just say, okay, God, I give up. You've got to do this, because I don't know where to even begin, right? Help. Where's God when I need him? You who, where are you? I need you now. And that's another song that is a nice song. It's like, I Need You Now, but I think it's by Antebellum or something. Anyway, here goes. Here's the story. When I was in graduate school, I was casually dating someone, but the person I knew from Northwestern, where I went to college, while I was away, would visit my parents and actually became my father's stockbroker, because he was working at Merrill Lynch at the time. And he talked my dad into telling me I was wasting my time in school and studying, and that I should just get married and move with him to New York, because he got a job on Wall Street. And so there I could either go to school, finish my school, or I could just, relax and live the good life. So there was something in my stomach, there was something in my soul, there was something in my heart that knew that was not the right thing for me to do. I really planned on a career in medicine, and I was not interested in getting married, and certainly not to him. And so anyway, I was a good little Greek girl that didn't argue with her daddy, and especially when daddy was paying the tuition and the apartment and the car and the clothes and the vacation, and the drill. And that was my own fault, totally. But after the wedding, that I should have said, no. No, on the honeymoon, the universe slapped me because I wasn't listening to myself. And there was like instant karma in my face. It was like a 2x4 that just hit me. And oh my gosh, like it was the day after the wedding, because we had flown to Hawaii. And he said, I wouldn't sleep with you if you were the last woman on earth. And I thought, oh my gosh. And then he said, I married you for your father's money. And I thought, that's double. Oh my gosh, Maria, what did you do? I really, really screwed up. But I didn't get it. I thought, oh my gosh, it was a huge wedding. Oh my gosh, there's stress. Oh my gosh, there's a career, oh my gosh, just call your father. Oh my gosh. But see, the reason for this is not to give you the details, but it is just to show that the longer we stay in something and the more we don't listen to the guidance that is within us, the worse it gets. And so that was instant karma for me. And so anyway, I left New York and I stopped, I changed directions. I went to law school instead, and he followed me back, and I started getting sick. And so all that just seemed a little too contrived. It just was a little too weird. And I thought, oh my gosh, now how can I leave? And I felt stuck. And so the longer I stayed, the more stuck I became. And then, of course, Maria had this brilliant idea, feeling she was sick and in school, and what was I going to do? And so I decided to, I had this brilliant idea because I wanted a baby. And I thought, oh, that will take care of everything, because I would then have someone to pour all my love into. And I so love to nurture and babies and dogs and things like that. And so I thought that would be a good thing. So, and actually, you know what? I have a very high IQ, but given the decisions I made, you wouldn't think so. I mean, I must have been like at the bottom of the class anyway, given my unenlightened decisions. But, so the longer I stayed, the more angry my husband became, because he didn't want to be in the marriage either. You know, he wasn't into women, and so here I was. Why did he marry me? And I guess I wasn't the easiest person to get along with, especially when I realized that this was, you know, a marriage of convenience for him. And so anyway, my parents worried. So I called my dad, and my parents were worried that he was going to have a breakdown, and so they told me not to talk. And that's kind of difficult for me to do. But anyway, I stayed mute for a while, and I looked for names of psychiatrists, and I prayed, and I was like, oh my gosh, in my house was like a nut house, because there was screaming, and I kept getting sicker, and I was just not happy, you know? And so I ended up resigning myself to having, you know, just being a wife and having children, being a quasi-wife, but having children and living for my children and having friends and family and a career. And then there were bigger houses and more friends and dinners and, you know, more entanglements and more crazy, for sure. And so I ended up hiring people to live in my house to kind of, you know, make sure that there was some quiet and sanity there. But after my baby daughter was born, I said I was going to get a divorce. But lo and behold, then I was sprayed with a landscaping poison. As I was doing nursery school carpool one day, I stood on the porch of this home waiting for this little girl to come out. And all of a sudden there were landscapers that were around the side of the house, and they had hoses, and they were just indiscriminately spraying the trees and the bushes. And I was standing on this porch, and I was doused. Well, that led to about 5 years of my becoming so ill that I had cardiac issues. I was allergic to everything. I was like the woman in the bubble. I had environmental illness and sensitivities. It affected my pancreas, my liver, my kidneys. It affected everything. I mean, it was a poison, not unlike the poisons that I had been poisoned with before. And so, you know, finally, after 5 years of finding like the top positions in the country, I filed for divorce. And by that time, you know, I had stuck around so long. I was married 16 years by that time, had 4 beautiful children. But, you know, my karma must have been to lose everything, because I stayed, and I shouldn't have stayed. And so I don't want to be necessarily punitive for myself, but I think it's just such a brilliant example of what happens when we don't follow our heart, and we don't follow what we know is the right thing to do, and we allow ourselves to be talked into things. And so think about it every day. You know, we come in contact with people who have agendas, and those agendas may not be what is in our best interest. But we go along because we're either afraid, or afraid of change, or afraid of making the wrong decision. You know, we want to people please. there are a lot of factors involved. But anyway, I ended up losing, in a 4 to 5 year court battle. I lost children and homes and everything, that I spent all those years building. And so I understand that. So I don't feel like, oh, I'm the victim. I mean, I have my own opinion on the court system, the legal system, and how many people, in order for one party to win, the other party has to lose. One party wins big, the other party loses big. But that's a whole different story. And I've made videos on. One video I made was my dear Mr. President talking about legal reform. But anyway, that's different from what we're talking about here. So the point of this one is that as things kept escalating, we need to stop it. The train is a runaway train unless we put our foot down and stop it. And it's not easy to do that once there's momentum going, And I wondered, had I not gotten married, had I not had children, had I not been poisoned and then drenched, would I have avoided some of that mess? And the answer isn't clear. Maybe, maybe not. Was it fated? Was it karma? Who knows? But there are two ways of looking at every situation that you're in as well. And that is, one is that it could be fate, because my children were to come through me and be part of this interesting dynamic of a family that all happened so perfectly. Or two, had I paid attention and been stronger, I could have avoided, that situation. I could have gone to school, I could have gotten student loans, I could have done, and then become the physician I wanted to become. My life could have taken a different direction. So, but one isn't a better option than the other, really, because whatever happens, we learn, the universe kind of perfects our path so that whichever choice we make, it does come out for our good. And that's not to say that my path wasn't good. I mean, maybe it was the perfect path for me because I learned so much, and I'm actually talking about it here with you and hoping that whatever light I can share with you maybe can help you, change the course of your life or do things a little differently, because it's not easy, but we have to do the right thing by our soul. I think that that's the message of this. And when you feel something so deeply, don't ignore the messages. No matter who tells you to do something, just do what feels right, whatever that is. And either way, there is no wrong decision, because either way, the universe and God will, and the consciousness, the collective consciousness of all creation will corroborate with others so that you do find your divinely orchestrated path. And so, maybe my life would have not been much different. It just really, we just don't know, because we don't know what to do. But in any event, whatever you choose, know that the universe can create perfection. And if you want easy, then do what I tell you to do, not what don't listen to what I did. But anyway, that was a little Maria Unfiltered tidbit for you to ponder as you consider your own life. And now you can make your own dreams come true. But remember that you are so divinely protected that whatever choices you do make, I wish for you that you can sit back and know that everything happened in divine order and in divine timing, and that you can sit back and not berate yourself for your choices, but in fact see the humor in it and see the perfection of the universe and why you chose those things, because we make decisions from unhealed wounds. And so in order for those wounds to heal, many times we have to experience certain things that aren't pretty, but we come out at the end so much brighter and so much shinier and so much healthier, so that we learn we're not going to do that again, right? And we are going to listen to the messages that come from our soul. And so anyway, I wish you all your dreams to come true. And until we meet again, I love you. Bye.